Welcome to the next reading of Uptown Sun by me. If you're looking for chapters 1 and 2, they are already on YouTube. If you don't want to wait week by week to get another chapter, it's on Kindle, it's in print, it's on Amazon, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. So if you need to get your page numbers up, do that. If you are not Christian, that is okay. I've been getting some great reviews by secular people, so strap on in. You'll laugh, maybe you'll cry, perhaps, and together we can read a book. I don't know, but just do it. Just do it. I'm tired and nothing's working. Just get the book, especially if you have Kindle Unlimited. Just. Okay, we're on chapter 3. Whatever. The Baba left a sticky residue on the tips of Natalie's fingers as she sat at the dilapidated shelter where a bus stop used to be. There was no denying that she was procrastinating her final errand. She had nothing against potatoes, or blueberries, or vanilla pods, or anything else one could obtain from what the locals referred to as the post, so named because the co-op doubled as a post office. On the contrary, she quite liked the locally grown items that could be found there. What she was trying to avoid were the people at the post. As a community initiative, it relied on trustworthy volunteers who had the time of day to run the store, so the staff were mostly elderly churchgoers. Some of them were okay, but Natalie was always afraid of getting a sermon when she just wanted potatoes. She was sure they'd have something to say about her being a young woman living alone, or that she was single, or that she was wearing pants today and that was just too unladylike. She locked up her bike just outside the shop and went over her short mental shopping list one last time. The sliding door was quite stubborn when pulled across the tracks of its frame. The smooth surface was covered with years and years of country dirt from the residents buzzing in and out all day, every day, 6 days a week. Once the door finally came loose, the bell jingled, announcing Natalie's presence. "Hello, Natalie." Gail was indeed one of the little old church ladies. "Those are some nice jeans you're wearing, love. I like the little butterflies. Aren't they too hot in this weather? How can I help you?" "Thank you. Too hot? No, Natalie felt lost in the rapid-fire greeting after expecting to be chastised. Gail paused her knitting and waited a moment for Natalie to finish her train of thought, but it never happened. "Right. How can I help you today, love?" she repeated, somewhat awkwardly. "Oh, right." Natalie snapped out of her daze. "I'm after blueberries, potatoes, cherries if they're in yet, and corn." "Well, you'll be very pleased because I've got the lot. The Graves and the Gibbs have done very well for themselves this year." Gail ushered Natalie to the outdoor part of the market where there were numerous separated piles of half-unpacked crates. "Gather what you need. It'll save the kids some time unpacking it all once they're back from the schoolhouse." Ugh, the schoolhouse. That's one thing Natalie did not miss. One building, 2 classrooms, no air conditioning. The same kids each and every year, the same scenery. For 12 boring years of her life, she sat 5 days a week in that stinking hot schoolhouse. Kids these days have it too easy with all of these new video conferencing tools and educational games. You can even join long-distance classes and actually make friends over the internet instead of having to completely leave town. Most of all, Natalie was irritated they'd only fundraised for air conditioning after she graduated. Then, of course, thinking of the schoolhouse made her think about him. A pang hit her right in the stomach. First it was sadness, then anger, then guilt. She did her best to switch off the memory and squish it deep down into a corner of her soul that she'd try to never visit again. It wasn't the time. She had work to do. Natalie forced a smile across her face and meandered through the piles of produce. She really took her time, distracting herself with the absolute brilliance it took for all the locals to create such beautiful and diversified crops. Of course, that took a lot of land space, and Cherry Rose applied the term local quite liberally. The whole Cherry Rose community was a rarity, and she knew that. It's easy for a country town to be overcome by a scourge, whether addiction, greed, or anything else. She pretended she hadn't considered loneliness a scourge and instead focused on finding the potatoes. She always loved the dry crunch that shoes made on the floors of the undercover areas where the produce was processed. The boxes of fruit and vegetables were piled high and overflowing onto the ground. She packed her basket to the brim. With an exaggerated thump, Natalie flopped over the counter and sighed. "There, I found it all." "You did very well for yourself indeed," Gail smiled as she began placing the produce onto a scale and tapping buttons on the old manual cash register. "When you see everyone involved in all of that growing, let them know I said thanks." Gail paused and looked up sheepishly from punching in the numbers on the register. You could always let them know yourself. They're all there on Sundays. Natalie's mind was still preoccupied with wrestling away old memories. Instinctively, she gave a gentle laugh to acknowledge that Gail had spoken. Then she realized what Gail had said. Her smile dropped. I'm not a churchgoer anymore. Sorry. Oh, I'm not trying to push you, dear. That's fine, but I'm not going. Natalie's voice was the equivalent of a flat line at this stage. I will never go back. Not in a million years. I'm not trying to be nasty, Gail. I'm really not. I just want to make it very clear. You will never, ever, and I mean not ever, see me in church. She tried to place her cash down gently on the counter, but the tremble in her hands made the gold coins clank loudly as they hit glass. Red-hot prickles began to crawl up the outside of her neck as she tried to swallow the tears rising from within. I'm sorry for being weird. This is so awkward to put on you. I'm sorry, Gail. I didn't mean to say anything. I have to go. She rushed outside, trying not to drop her produce as she wrestled with the sliding door. Once she'd obtained her freedom, she repacked her bag, hopped on her bike, and began to pedal as fast as she could, hoping to the open sky that no one she knew would see her flying down the road openly sobbing. It didn't matter. She knew, on Sunday, Gail would tell everyone how weird she was. That's what churches were like, just hotbeds of gossip. So if you want to know what happens next, I will catch you next week, or Amazon. Especially if you have Kindle Unlimited. Do that. Kindle Unlimited. Or you can get it. Look. It's like a full book. So do whatever you want. I'm tired. Bye.